CNZ show.
And then a week and a half ago, we went and saw John Wick 4. So when John Wick came out, that movie, I think I've watched that movie like 50 times. I don't know. It was such a different movie. It was, I mean, Keanu Reeves played a great part. It's just very stoic, just very, hardcore. And so I was really excited for that one. 2 came out. It was all right. It kind of followed up on the first one. And then the third one, 2 was actually really good. The third one was okay. Halle Berry didn't really make me believe that she could beat guys up that were like twice her size. But the dogs were really cool in that one. But the fourth one, it was better than the third. So I was happy about that. Didn't have a great plot or anything like that. They were just trying to continue the John Wick story. If you've seen the movies, like he was almost dying after every movie. It's like the dude's falling to his death or getting shot or something. But 4 was actually very entertaining, and I give it a thumbs up.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So I liked it. I thought it was really good. John Wick 1, I really like John Wick 1 because the plot, the premise, the idea of it is, so simple but so good. You killed this guy who's like a legendary killer. You killed his dog, and he just is looking for an excuse to unleash all that anger, hate, and rage he has at the loss of his life on people. So I liked it, and I liked the fact that they used legitimate combat jujitsu in it, and that most of the fight scenes were believable-ish, right? Like, I mean, there's always in a movie where you're taking on that many guys, and you're got to be so accurate with a gun at all times.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a few cut the bullshit moments, but at least the tactics being used look legitimate. And one of the things that was great is you could go back and see Keanu actually going through the training for that stuff. And it's, real military tactical training, etc. So I always liked that. And then the overall action was satisfying. Like, it was violent and crisp. And one of the things that I don't like is really choppy fight scenes, right? Those bother me a lot, because I can tell that you're just hiding the fact that these two guys aren't great martial artists. Yeah. Right? Or that you didn't really have this scene worked out very well, or it just makes it easier to to film a fight sequence. So I don't care for that choppy sequence. In John Wick, there's a few of those really quick cuts, but for the most part, in the first one, it's very long sequences, which I really, really dig. Yeah. Because you get to see the guy in the physical space doing things. You don't lose sight of where you are within the space of the film. And then, I know you got me talking film stuff now, but, and then so John Wick 2 took that. I wasn't expecting, the Second Symphony or anything. I was expecting more violence, mayhem, that amped up, and they gave it to us. And so I really liked it. So within the series, John Wick 1 is my favorite. John Wick 2 is my second favorite, although I think John Wick 2 technically surpasses John Wick 1 in what they presented on screen. As far as like the stunts, the action sequences, they're more enthralling than John Wick 1, but I liked the aesthetic of John Wick 1 very much. John Wick 3 was absolute hot garbage to me, and I don't know how to explain it. There's a few fight sequences in John Wick 3, and there's a few action sets that I like. There's a couple of concepts within it that I like, but all of it doesn't really seem to come together for me. And it got a little too on the martial arty side. Don't get me wrong, it's all martial arts, right? And even 4 has a significant amount of that. But John Wick 3 got a little too far into the, he's fighting the 2 guys that are from the Raid films. Yeah. And, well, they've done a lot of things, but they're very well known for the Raid films. Yeah. And these guys are like up to his waist height almost, Right. And like he's struggling to fight. It just, and then, there were several of those types of cut the shit moments. Right. And then the very final part of it is he gets shot off a building. And I don't know how tall the Continental is, but it looks to be pretty tall.
Yeah.
Kind of height that would kill a man.
Exactly.
If you're wearing Kevlar, right, and you fall, because that's apparently what his suits are supposed to be made out of. You're wearing Kevlar. You got the Kevlar on. You're like, well, it's because of the. I saw a comment that said it's because of the Kevlar. Kevlar protected him.
It protected you.
No, you'd be a bag soup, like be Kevlar and bones. I mean, just crushed up inside that thing, right? Because the impact.
Yeah.
It's the sudden stopping that crushes all of your stuff. Not, you understand what I'm saying? The reason why Kevlar works is because it disperses impact. Right? Well, it's going to disperse that impact, but it's so much impact.
Yeah, you're going to be smushed.
You're not going to walk around. Now, I was nervous going into 4 because I thought they're going to pick up right at the end of 3. And we're going to, we're going to accept that this guy just fell off a building and now he's doing all this stuff. But they at least had enough common sense to give you like, oh, he recovered, trained, he's in there punching stuff, training, right?
Yeah.
And then they go through it and then they have him, spoiler alert, fall off a building and get up and fight within that movie. And I was like, so there's still some cut the shit moments in it, right? Yeah. But overall, the fight sequences, the decisions made in it, the technical display of martial arts on film is just astounding. The nunchuck scene alone is so good because I think most people, when they see nunchucks on film, they're expecting that flashy, spinny, pretty stuff. That's not how you use nunchucks. The way he used nunchucks is how you use nunchucks.
It was believable.
It was believable. You use them like clubs, and you swing them. You're not Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtling it, right?
Yeah, or Bruce Leeing it.
Yeah, even Bruce Leeing it. I mean, that's fantasy martial arts.
Yeah. Right.
Even though Bruce Lee was a badass, that's still fantasy martial arts.
Yeah.
And then just one last thing I want to mention before I move on from this film.
Okay.
There's one sequence in it that is one of the best things I've seen in film in quite some time.
Yeah.
Like, you feel like, oh, I've seen it all, they've done it all, right?
Yeah.
And then there's been hints of a scene like this in other movies. There was a hint of it in Kill Bill.
Okay.
There's been a hint of it in a few other movies. But basically, they took this, I would say, 5 to 6 minute action sequence. I could be wrong on that. It
could be shorter, but it felt
very long.
A long time.
Right? And they one cut it, which means that there's no cuts in this entire sequence. And as the sequence starts, they pull the camera out above. So you're looking down on the room, kind of like a top-down arcade game. You know how you see the little character below you moving through?
Yeah.
And they follow him through this house as he destroys, maybe 40. It's probably not that many. Again, it felt long, maybe 30 people. And they coupled it with a really cool ammo effect where they put gunshot or shotgun shells that would actually ignite, so that they catch people on fire. So it's somewhat dark, and you see these bursts that illuminate the room as he's going through it.
It does look like a video game.
It is really cool. That's one of my favorite action sequences in a long time, just because of how you think I've seen it all. Put a camera on his foot or whatever. That was really cool.
Yeah.
All right. So that's my John Wick 4 stuff. So John Wick 4 is still third in my series, but they're so close together.
Yes.
But then 3 is just hanging out by itself somewhere. We don't talk about 3.